So that movie,
It's the real cinema hours.
The Godfather.
The realest cinema hours.
Welcome to the One Take Podcast, episode 108. This week we are doing a throwback review. Haven't done one of those since Top Gun because it's been real cinema hours. But according to most, we're not real cinema reviewers if we don't talk about The Godfather, the greatest thing that has ever blessed God's green earth in cinema. And you're not a real man if you haven't seen it. And do you actually like movies if you've never seen this movie?
You're being sarcastic, but
some are asking.
100%.
Some are asking.
It is true. And this is our graduation as a podcast. Now we are in hashtag real cinema hours. Now we gotta make sure we win this game, guys. We can't lose. We're in the finals. It's time for our
all three of us are finally real cinema enjoyers. Because
we've been training. We've been training to be real movie boys, and now we have made it. This is our Jedi moment.
Look, guys, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. We're gonna review The Godfather.
I honestly can't believe we made it 2.5 years into this podcast.
It's actually insane that Royden was able to hold out for this long.
It really is kind
that Royden held out for about 80 episodes. He was just like, no, I'm not gonna watch that movie actually, and fuck y'all for about 80 episodes in a row.
I did a better performance than you refusing to watch Morbius, to be completely honest. I have the longevity.
I just want the podcast to know when we get the end of the year one take podcast awards, I deserve an award because I defeated the Morbius allegations on this.
You really did, bro.
It was not even going to see work by me.
Like,
yeah, me too. I didn't.
We are all better for it.
Yeah,
we are all better for it.
Just for shits and giggles. And Tej was like, "Nah, we are not reviewing that shit on the podcast." And he did such a good job. I didn't even
our fans. We saved our fans 2 hours of nasty experience, bro. They should thank us. We did a public service on this podcast by avoiding the Morbius allegations.
That and the Snyder allegations. You actually pulled a 180 on that one. You pulled a swift one on that one. That was a couple years ago.
I cannot believe that Snyder had the audacity to say, "I'm going to release a cut of this movie that is 4 hours long." I was offended at the notion. I was honestly offended as a movie.
That is some people's Godfather, to be completely honest.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Some people voted that the best movie moment in the Oscars,
dude.
In history, not like
of the last year,
not of the last year, not of the last like few months of ever.
God.
That footage doesn't exist. We have deleted that from the internet. If you go try to find that, it doesn't exist anymore. That moment never happened, guys. We all imagine that.
The only thing that happened at Oscars 22 is Licorice Pizza lost every award and Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and that's it.
That's literally the only two things that happened at the Oscars.
They did actually have a Godfather reunion that nobody got to talk about after.
They did. That's true.
We are talking about The Godfather, the one and only, 1972. Hey, bada bing, 1972, rated R, 9.2 on IMDb.
Too low.
Okay.
Too low.
Too low.
It is the number 2 rated overall movie on the website of all time. Number 45th.
What's number 1?
I think Shawshank Redemption.
Oh.
Boo.
Hey, let me tell you guys this. The Godfather is a much better movie than Shawshank Redemption. I'm sorry.
They are both rated at a 9.2. So, I don't know.
Put The Godfather in first place because
Godfather's number 1 in our hearts.
Yes, thank you.
So The Godfather came out in 1972. It's 2 hours and 55 minutes long. The aging patriarch of an organized crime dynasty in post-war New York City transfers control of his clandestine empire to his reluctant youngest son. Written and directed by Francis Ford Coppola. Also, Mario Puzo has a screenplay credit on this, based on the best-selling novel of the same name that came out only a few years earlier. The Godfather stars just everyone in Hollywood ever. Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, James Caan, Diane Keaton, a very young Diane Keaton, Robert Duvall, and a host of other character actors who were in just a litany of other mob films and things throughout the rest of their life. A lot of them actually, which is kind of weird, died not too long after the making of the second one of these movies. Talia Shire, though, who you might know from the Rocky franchise, who I didn't know was Francis Ford Coppola's sister.
That's
Yeah, so there's
that's how she got the role, even though she's not good.
Yeah, there's a huge history of nepotism with Coppola and his movies, which that's just Hollywood, but whatever.
Talia Shire stinks, okay? She's actively bad in this film. It is the only criticism you could ever have of this film. She is not good.
There's so much Coppola nepotism that Nick Cage had to change his name to beat the allegation.
Yeah, everybody forgets Nick Cage is a Coppola, by the way.
Smartest thing he ever did was change his name. Literally the smartest thing he's ever did.
Hey, nah, y'all not about to get me. No, sir.
The average American doesn't know that. Like, he literally erased that from the record.
Mm-hmm. But this has a 100 meta score. That's the first time I've ever seen that. Just a 100. It won 3 Oscars. Best Picture, Best Actor, Marlon Brando, who we'll get into his performance after a while, was just reading cue cards. That's incredible. Yeah. Just all first team, don't give a fuck. And it won Francis Ford Coppola his first Oscar for Best Writing Screenplay based on material from another medium. This is the most shocking part about this movie. 3 Best Actor in a Supporting Role nominations for James Caan, Robert Duvall, and Al Pacino. Split the vote. No one got in it. No one won.
Yeah, who
won? Absolute travesty.
Let's see. In the 1973 Oscars, I think it's something egregious, but best Joel Gray for Cabaret, which is a movie people love, but like they definitely split the vote there.
Yeah.
That was a robbery. Literally, you could give it to any one of those 3 guys, and you get your right side of history.
Well, Pacino, according to history, boycotted the Oscars because he felt like he should have been nominated in the Best Actor category, along with Brando, because they have the same amount of screen time, or Pacino even maybe has more. And I kind of agree. He's right. If you release this movie today, Brando is nominated as a supporting actor and sweeps and wins, and Pacino is nominated as the lead actor.
As best, yes, that's facts. They were absolutely wrong for that. He should have been. He was right, and he boycotted the Oscars, but he was absolutely right. And then they didn't even give him the award that he didn't even think he should be up for. They didn't even give it to him.
They didn't even give it to him. And then Brando, historically, if you've seen this clip, it's one of the most famous Oscar clips of all time. He didn't even show up for the award and used it as a moment to give a Native American woman the chance to talk about the mistreatment of their race in America, and the person was tragically booed on stage. Like, it was terrible. 1972, they booed this poor woman.
What?
Brando, have you not seen this clip?
No, I've never seen it.
It is crazy.
What
he didn't
the
show
fuck?
up to, yeah, he didn't show up to accept his award. He allowed a Native American woman to go up and accept the award for him and talk about the mistreatment of Native Americans in America. And the crowd booed it.
And then they mistreated this Native American woman, literally proving her point.
Yeah,
we'll show you.
Yeah,
people were making a big deal out of somebody getting slapped up at the Oscars. That is much worse than somebody getting slapped up at the Oscars.
Go look it up. You can find it on YouTube. But they all were nominated for. Francis Ford Coppola was nominated for Best Director. It also had a nomination for Best Costume Design, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, and Best Music, which it was deemed ineligible because I think like they reused this score in a different movie earlier or something like that and just put it on The Godfather.
Hey, really?
I think something like that.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
That's
I think it was in a different movie. Anyway.
I want to watch that other movie.
Yeah. Just to hear The Godfather and be like, oh shit, this is the baptism.
Which it's a classic score. Everybody knows it now. But I think that's correct. I might have to be wrong, but they did refuse to nominate it and replace it with another nomination.
He should have absolutely won Best Director. We didn't say that, but that was also a robbery. Like, they were robbed.
I think whoever won for like Cabaret or something like that. But
that movie, Cabaret is good. I'm not going to shit on it. But
we can also talk about the history of Francis Ford Coppola too, because it's very interesting. But this movie, based on a best-selling novel, they didn't know if it was going to be a hit or not. $6 million budget, relatively big for not the biggest, but relatively big for 1972, was a smash. This movie made $250 million at the box office.
That's like $700 million today.
Earned it.
Massive
Earned
smash.
every penny.
Yeah.
It was critically well received, but right now it holds a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes critic score, which I don't know who's the person in there. Like, I'm not even going to give this a 3 out of 5 because that's what it takes to not give it an approval on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm upset with the whole Rotten Tomatoes thing, to be honest with you. Because the reason Paddington 2 doesn't have a 100 is because one fucking guy gave it like a 2 out of 4 or something.
What do those people get out of this when they do this and ruin things like this? Why are you shitting
years later?
Why are you shitting on The Godfather? Why do you log onto the internet one day and go on a website and shit on The Godfather? Why do you do that?
Yeah, who asked for that?
98% audience score out of 250,000 plus ratings and reviews. Let's finally get into it. Y'all told me y'all wanted me to go first.
Yeah, I have to go first so we can bully you when you're wrong.
Okay.
Yes, facts.
So, historically, I have refused. We vamped about that at the beginning. I have refused to see this movie, not out of lack of not wanting to. I actually really wanted to watch this movie for a very long time. At one point, you just like couldn't find it on streaming for a while, but also it got to the point where I had missed it, and so just to be an asshole, just to be a bit, I had just been like, no, I just haven't seen it. And the look of disdain and sheer just panic on white men's faces when you tell them that you haven't seen The Godfather is just spicy meatball. It is just like,
especially when you usually I get to that conversation with strangers after telling them that I'm really into movies.
Yeah.
It's like before I had seen The Godfather, telling them I'm really into movies, never seen The Godfather. They're just like, what? Like, you just looks like you just grew like a wart on your face or something. Like they just can't.
You think you grew a dick out of your nose or something like that. They just be like, what is on your face? It is like, it is just incredible to watch the reaction. That being said, like I legitimately was being like I just missed out on watching a really incredible movie. Like, it just is really stupid to just be like, no, I just haven't, But it is like, this movie is fantastic. Like I'm not gonna front. Like this movie is just is really really good. I will say I find it very disingenuous and wrong that people think this is a flawless movie. I think there are plenty of flaws in this movie. You have to really try hard to poke holes in it, and you're being an asshole, which I will be. But like,
there's only one flaw in this movie, and I already said it, bro. There's literally only one flaw in this movie.
Nepotism is the only flaw.
Yeah,
yes, that's the only flaw in this film.
I think it's very disingenuous and just rose-colored glasses to say that this movie is the most perfect movie that has ever existed. It's the peak of cinema that we reached in 1972, and you're just like,
the peak of cinema that we reached in 1972. It was the zenith of cinema.
But I will say this is it allowed and did things in the movie that one hadn't been done in 1972. So I understand why it is regarded as the greatest film of all time, because it did things. The performances are so spot on and so incredible that one, it covers up, sometimes some plot holes, sometimes some things that maybe not even plot holes. That's wrong, because maybe I just got caught not paying attention. But it covers up some weird choices that Coppola makes, but he makes so many good ones. He's like 9 out of 10 from the field. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to say here. He makes so many good ones that sometimes things that like maybe should have been cut out, or it should have been maybe even a little bit shorter.
What are the mistakes? Let's run the mistakes, bro. I don't.
Let's go.
I thought he put up a clean sheet personally, other than nepotism I thought he put up a clean sheet.
Well, yeah, the Talia Shire thing is not great. I will say this: some of the blocking from from the James Caan fight scene is completely
This
terrible.
movie was made 50 years ago, bro.
It's
That's
terrible.
not a mistake.
It's
just
terrible.
that time has moved in a way that makes it look like a mistake. But at the time, that was Tom Cruise level cinema right there, bro. That was the greatest fight shit you've ever seen on a movie screen at the time.
You can't tell me that when they've been making war films and Western films with better fight scenes for a millennia. Like, you can't tell me that.
Nobody complained about that when they saw it in a film in 1972. I guarantee it. That shit was top of the line. It was we just spent 50 years. It's
not
really funny to watch now because you see him like literally missing punches. He's like it's bad. But in 1972, that was the peak of cinema.
No, I will say there, like, I'm really have to dig deep to like even really poke any holes in that, and that's really one of the jokes that I had. I at points was really confused about where the plot was going. It ends up wrapping up incredibly well at the very end, and you kind of get it. There are so many fucking characters in this long ass movie. It ends up wrapping and tying a neat bow at the very end, literally.
And then it gets better after this, bro. Like, that's the thing that's crazy.
So yeah, I'm not sitting here and telling you that it has glaring flaws. Like, you can look at it and be like, I don't know, something from Christopher Nolan and be like, well, that just doesn't make any sense. No, most of the stuff wraps up cleanly and works really fine. I think the use of the editing in the very beginning was very kind of jarring. I have seen somebody, and here's the problem. I've also listened to a lot of things about this movie and read about a lot of articles about this movie now. I think people have said, oh, well, it's a bunch of vignettes of trying to get you into this movie. It's like a lot of episodes. It's almost episodic to start. I think that was a little weird. And you can see it in the cuts where it just basically like hard cuts to a completely separate thing like 6 months later. And there's no sort of, it's very jarring in the very beginning. Now, I will say the second half, oh no. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I would say,
I was like, what just happened?
Where did you lose me?
You would say
the second half.
Oh, okay. Well, the second half just completely goes. Like, it's just from the time that he gets married in Sicily to the very end just goes.
Yep. Facts.
And even then, I'm not quite sure you even like, I get why you had like it gives his character depth and everything. Even then, like, you don't necessarily even need the entire Sicily part to me, but I get why you do it. That's kind of where I'm at with it, where it's like, maybe who am I to criticize Francis Ford Coppola and making movies? Like whatever. But I just think there are parts where this movie, if it is trimmed and it goes like 230, I think this movie is quite literally like nothing holds a candle to it. You know what I mean?
So you just need the 2.5 hour cut of this movie, and I'm in.
I need it. This movie is long as fuck, bro. Like, and I know you said that I would say that, but this movie, and the second one's even longer.
They are both worth it. You gotta earn that experience, bro. The Irishman was like 9.5 hours.
And I didn't finish The Irishman.
Yeah, well, that's because it was trash. That's the problem with it. Not that it was long. It's that it was trash.
Yeah, you can't be long and trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna be a long movie, you gotta have some heat. Like, The Godfather earns 3 hours. The Batman earns 3 hours. The Irishman, nah, bro. The fuck out of here.
The fight scene in The Godfather from 50 years ago is better than the fight scene in The Irishman that they filmed 2 years ago with 3 times the budget. How does that make sense? That's insane.
Look, a lot of people are going to be screaming at their phones and telling me you're wrong. You know, like, you don't even appreciate good things. I'm just saying I don't believe that any movie is particularly just above reproach and above any criticism. I'm not saying that this movie isn't an A, or an A plus even. I'm just saying that the thought is disingenuous, and you're lying if you don't say that any movie can't be criticized. And that's where I think a lot of people hold this movie in this regard, is that you can't make fun of it or criticize it whatsoever. And I just find that false and categorically wrong. And I think a lot of people that were raised in Gen X watched this movie when they were 9 years old, and it was some of the best time that they ever spent with their father, and that's why they see it in such an incredible light.
All right.
So
I didn't watch this movie with my dad.
I also didn't watch this movie with my dad.
I know you didn't. I know you didn't, but everyone in my mentions, a lot of people in my mentions are being like, "This is the best movie ever. When did you watch it?" I was 8. Like, okay. Who are you with?
Real cinema,
my
bro.
dad. We sat down and watched it on VHS. Like, yeah, I get that. Like, I love Forrest Gump because my dad showed it to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like
Forrest Gump stinks. I'm sorry.
All right, don't do that. We're not going to slander Forrest Gump. I don't like this. Everyone slanders Forrest Gump now. It is a heartwarming movie. It's still good.
Look, you know how you said that they could have cut like 20 minutes off of The Godfather and made it
okay, you're right. Now you're right,
perfect?
Dex. What you're about to say is right.
They could definitely have cut some time off of Forrest Gump, and I would have been like, yeah,
cut Jenny out of the movie.
I will agree with you that it could stand to be a little bit shorter, but man, that is a great film, and everybody shits on it now, but it was still good.
I was having a great time for the first like hour and a half, and then I was like, oh, we're still going. We got more stories.
So people, do not get mad at me and do not come in my mentions. I give this movie an A+. This movie is fantastic. It paved the way for any cinema that came after it. It is in peak storytelling and just awesome performances from Brando, even though he's wearing the weirdest prosthetics ever made and reading cue cards, and you can tell he's just magnetic and magnanimous and incredible, and just the camera draws into him. Pacino gives the best turn I think I've ever seen of any character ever in any movie. And James Caan is fine. Like, James Caan was doing the most, but like Robert Duvall gives the most subtle performance that is so sublime, I think, in this movie that I've ever seen. Like, I think he had, to me, one of the best performances probably the best performance to me in this movie. I will just say that. I think Robert Duvall is incredible in this movie. And so don't get mad at me. This movie is an A+. I get it. You can still make fun of classic cinema. Yeah. And we will hopefully do that the rest of this podcast.
It does insist upon itself, like the Family Guy show.
Yeah.
It definitely insists upon itself. I will give you that.
And
but some things are worth insisting on.
No more so than they're like, we're going to create an entire 10-episode series about the creation of this movie. And it tanked.
That I'm going to watch, and I heard it's fire, by the way.
It has a 40% on. It has a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes,
I'm going to be the judge of that. Rotten Tomatoes is lying, and it might beat those allegations. But I'm going to watch. But I haven't watched yet. But I'm definitely tuning in.
Yeah. So everybody, don't get mad at me. I'm sorry that I'm going to make fun of your favorite movie, but I will eventually get to the jokes here because it's all jokes. I just got my Twitter account.
It's time for Real Cinema Hours, bro. There ain't no more jokes. You better get those out right now because we're about to spit real talk about real cinema on this podcast, bro.
Well, yeah, do you want to talk about Talia? Do you want to talk about Talia Shire running around her house going?
Okay, that I've already admitted that is a flaw in the film. The film is a 98% from the field with 97 points and 67 rebounds in the finals. Like, we can't criticize. That's all I'm saying. The way that you open this movie, you are coming into this family in this world. First of all, literally the first scene is like, yo, bro, they got my daughter, bro. I need to get it back in blood. Marlon Brando's like, okay, but you never want to see me before. I had gatherings. You never invited me over to your house. I understand that you've made it in America and you live a certain way, but I had to get mine out the mud. And so you live a different lifestyle than me, and you didn't want to cross paths with me. But now you're in my face because I made it, which perfectly relates back to when you get to Godfather 2, you dig a lot into the history of these people coming from Italy. That's why the stuff when you're in Italy in this movie really pays off, because you spend a fair amount of time over there in the Godfather 2, and it really connects the two stories of these two people.
I haven't seen Godfather 2.
You're going to. It's phenomenal. Dex thinks it's better.
We're talking about the Godfather.
I don't think.
We're talking about the Godfather.
The dots. So you start this movie. This guy, it's really compelling. Somebody is asking for someone to be murdered, and he's like, "I'm not going to murder him. We're just going to do equal eye for eye." Then you're at a wedding, and you have to get familiar with the family dynamic. Who are these people? So he has a date at the wedding, which allows him to tell us everything about the family in one scene, because she's learning about the family, so we are too. Genius way to flow the information. Like you said, there are a ton of characters in this movie, so it could be easy to lose people. So the way that you do it is you orient them based on the family dynamic. You understand this guy's as he's at his daughter's wedding. He can grant a favor for anyone, which I don't know if that's true. That's a fire concept. Like my daughter's getting married, so now I get to bless the whole hood. That's incredible. So
a thing that has been replicated in movies, sorry to interrupt you. Everything that you see in this movie has been replicated in every movie ever since it came out. So I will give it that. It just did things that people weren't doing.
Now every movie wants to pop you in at a wedding. It's like a very great way to orient the story. And, you don't know a lot about Michael. You just know that he's kind of a war hero dude. All of a sudden, Frank Sinatra shows up at this party. This woman's like, holy shit, oh my God, Frank Sinatra is at the party. Like, who the fuck are you and who are these people? And it's like, oh, that's my old friend. Like, who is the guy? Oh, yeah, like, we go back. How do you know each other? Oh, well,
my dad literally Frank Sinatra.
My dad basically extorted the people that he was on papers with. He became a big movie star, and he's the godson of my dad. It's like, oh shit, I didn't know y'all knew Frank Sinatra and them. Cool. And you're pulled into this world where basically anything is possible for these people that have made something out of nothing, but they've done it in a very illicit ways. And the way that you kind of pull back, the way they get you into the movie is just so captivating, and it never lets go. It is always fascinating to see these characters, to see where Michael's going, to see where he ends up. And the movie studio guy gives the best performance in this movie. Like, obviously not, but the dude is so committed to it. He's so good in the role.
Oh my God.
He's in the movie for 5 minutes, but every time you watch it, you're like, I'm going to enjoy that fucking 5 minutes. This guy is fucking going for it. Like, he's giving everything to this part of this movie. The performances are just so good. You feel like you're really in this world. Every time I watch this movie, I'm in there. Like,
I'm about this life now.
It's so good. It's just
holy shit.
There's nothing wrong with it except for every time Talia Shire's on scene, you just remember you're watching a movie, because she is absolutely terrible. It ages badly. It is just really bad. This movie is toxic masculinity at its finest. They don't go to therapy. We just get our ops out of here.
Get it back in blood every time.
We get it back in blood every time,
dude.
And I agree with you that the Tom character is just phenomenal, because he without him the movie doesn't work. He needs to be the one that's like, I'm trying to have the head on right. I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to orient this, but everybody else is just like, we getting this shit back in blood. I don't care about the consequences. We riding out right now. It doesn't matter. Like, they all gotta go.
That like a lot of people have used that, like the Kay Adams part is like the avatar for the audience. I believe that it's Tom is kind of the avatar for the audience, because even though he is also a part of all this bad shit, he's the only one that's like, hey, can we stop and like wait a second for like some of this? Like, he's the only one that takes a breath, even including Michael. Like, he's the only one that takes a breath. And I really found his performance, like, especially when he's dealing with the Hollywood executive, because I texted y'all and I was like, dude, he's throwing 100 miles an hour without doing anything. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Anyway, sorry, I'm gonna keep interrupting.
I'm wrapping up. I'm gonna pass the ball to Dex, but this is just, every time you watch it, it is just it rewards the rewatch. You know what's coming. The fight scene's bad and Talia Shire are bad, but everything else is just so good. The way the story wraps, the way that you close, Literally, it ends with closing the door. Like she sees that, oh shit, like they're kissing the ring. Like Michael is the new Don. Like
It's the best way I've ever seen a movie end.
Now he is the new Don. It perfectly sets up a sequel. We're gonna make all this money, and it's easily follows from the sequel that now Michael is the guy. That's why it's just being in that world, and it feels so authentic. It doesn't take. I don't think the movie takes itself seriously at all. There are jokes in this movie. There are obviously moments where you're supposed to laugh. Leave the gun, take the cannoli. That's supposed to be a joke. Like it's not that they are taking themselves too seriously. It's like they made something so compelling and so dramatic, and they told the story in such a cool way that they were able to. People think it's pretentious, but it's actually not. It's like they're jokes. Sometimes there are moments of levity. It has everything. It has love.
There's some boobs.
There's some boobs.
Oh, that's another thing that has aged terribly. By the way, we can talk about that. Holy shit.
That girl is like young as hell. That's a weird dynamic every time.
See, so my whole thing about cut out the Sicily thing.
I just wish they made her like of age, and then I understand completely the choice that you make by having him do that. He ends up back with Kay anyway. Like I understand why you would have that happen to him, but come on, bro. Like just make her like 21. Okay, cool. Now we're having a great time. But
cast a woman that was actually of age. Nobody.
Yes, that would.
We don't want to talk about. We don't want to talk about y'all's fave movie is problematic, but
yeah, they shouldn't have done that. It was a very regrettable casting decision, very regrettable storyline in general. They could have just made someone older and cast someone older. That's nasty, big nasty boy hours.
Anyway, sorry. What's your grade, man? I got you off track.
Of course, it's an A+. This is the fucking Godfather. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think this is our first A+ sweep in One Take podcast history.
Yeah, I'm not going to be the one that I was thinking on coming on here and doing the bit of like, oh, I'm going to give this an A- or something, but no, it's an A+.
Thank God. That means it's in the One Take Hall of Fame.
It's in
right
the
up there,
One
shiny
Take
new
Hall
plaque.
of
It's in the One Take Hall of Fame. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's the Godfather. Everyone knows the shit fucking bangs. But like watching it this time, I was like, this pulled off in 3 hours what it took Game of Thrones like 6 seasons to set up. Like it took Game of Thrones 60 hours of television.
Oh, eat your heart off, Benioff and Weiss. Dear Lord.
Because like Tej was saying, they introduce you to like all the like a lot of the kid family and stuff at that wedding scene. All right, it's like cool. We got the family dynamic. It's like he's my brother. He's not really my brother. He's on some Jon Snow shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He over there. Like we fuck with him.
Really we fuck with him, but he's not really gang like that.
He not really gang like that. I mean, we rock with the kid, but like he a bastard. You know what I'm saying? Like can't really rock. And then,
he's Irish. Ugh.
Yeah, you know. And you got your boy Rob Stark, Sonny or whatever his name is, out here fucking wilding, like thinking he running the streets. And getting gunned down in front of the hoes. You know, like this shit really is just like Game of Thrones at the end of the day. Like, and all the way down to like Godfather 3 being the last season of Game of Thrones, which just no one wants to talk about. But like, yeah, they like in 3 hours they just established this whole like they build up this whole world and like this myth around the Godfather and like how fucking like cool it is to be the Godfather. It's like I don't know what the fuck any of those words mean. Like before
is it cool? Because it looks like people are gonna try to kill you a lot.
I mean, yeah, but it's like, when you're the Godfather, everybody's coming to you to like ask you to do stuff for them. You got respect in the streets most of the time. You're kind of running shit out here. You're calling meetings and shit. Like,
unless you're with Fredo.
Yeah, unless you're Fredo, and then you got to get him out of here. But they established that shit too. Like, there's this whole fucking thing with Fredo that they like he's barely in the movie and you can tell like this dude's fucking trash. Like I fucking hate this guy.
I'm not really a Fredo fan personally.
Yeah, I don't rock like with Fredo. Well, Fredo's fucking up the money out here. And then that comes back around in the second one.
4 at a time.
I love how they send Fredo to the Night's Watch. They just send him to Vegas.
But yeah, like there's so much shit like that. They do it. They establish all of this so quickly, and they get you through it. They tell you exactly what you need to know. They like don't waste time like trying to be coy about shit. Like Michael shows back up to Kay, and she's like, "How long have you been here?" "Oh, I've been here about a year." It's like, oh, okay, cool. It's been. We had a hard cut when Sicily. His wife blew up. Cool. Been here about a year.
That's so
Done.
jarring.
She
It's
couldn't
so
contact him.
jarring.
He got back
It's
and
so-
he still was like, "I'm cool off her for a little while. I'm not
cool
really
off
trying to.
her, bro.
I'm cool off her. Like I'm tripping.
I'll see where she work at, but like, I don't need to.
Oh, you teach now? You teach now? That's cool.
But yeah, like they tell you everything you need to know, like nothing that you don't need to know. They move characters in and out, but like it doesn't, for me at least, it wasn't confusing at all. It's like, okay, we've got, this player here, he's real shady and like thinks he's a hot shot trying to come up. He's got the police in his pocket. Oh, we got him out of here immediately. Like both of those dudes are dead. Moving on. All right, here's the next
That
guy.
scene, we can all talk about our favorite scenes, but that scene, I was literally sitting on my couch. My heart was racing. I was like, oh shit. Is he gonna kill a cop in broad daylight? Is he gonna?
Yes, yes, he is.
Yep.
Yes,
It's gonna be fucking amazing. And bro, that cop went out so fucking sad. We can talk about it more once we get there.
Somebody called it bullet. Somebody called it bullets parmesan. Somebody called it bullets parmesan the other day.
At least the other dude, the gangster dude, like just like died. You know what I'm saying? The cop was like fucking flailing at his neck and shit. Like, nah, bro, just die. Like,
Why does he? Why does he?
People
shoot
die
only...
so funny in this. It's like they didn't quite yet know how to perfect the dying in movies.
Yeah,
But yeah.
And so yeah, you just got people. Oh man, we got to talk about like the best deaths in this movie because I have a easy number one answer for me. But yeah, man, this movie gives you everything you need, nothing you don't. It's like 3 hours of just amazing just storytelling. I fucking love it. I don't like. I'm sure there's some shit we're definitely gonna make fun of some shit like, but
Well,
like,
Can I start?
Yeah, let's do it. A+. Let's go.
This movie is racist. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this movie fucking hates black people, bro.
They did not hold back on the racism in this film. Not at all.
Okay,
All
it
the
starts out like does the Hollywood executive know every slur for Italians like ever?
That's like Mel Gibson. He has a slur for every group around, bro. That dude has a fucking arsenal of slurs ready. He had everything right on the tip of his tongue.
He tells him exactly he's German Irish and he makes up 2 different slurs.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I got something for that too. Don't you worry."
He literally did a remix and put 2 slurs together for one dude. He was like, I got you all figured out, bro. This is the most racist movie ever.
Big Myers Leonard energy, where it's like, bro, do people say that? Why do you have that?
The amount of Italian slurs that guy throws out in a breath is astonishing. It takes your breath away. You're like, oh my god, just like
It's worse than Godfather 2. They treat Italian people so bad in these movies.
Man,
but
and
this movie just like actively hates black people, just
Ooh,
like for no reason.
That's nasty.
I don't even want to say any of those lines because they're so bad. But the one when they're sitting there saying where they can introduce the heroin or the cocaine.
Yes.
Yeah, we can sell drugs to them.
Bananas.
They're animals.
It is insane.
Oh my god,
that shit hits you every time I watch this movie. It hits me like a bomb in the chest every time. I'm like, God damn, that's some.
Yeah, it's like, bro, I want to be down with the Corleones, but y'all out here being racy.
But like it, obviously the decision to base this movie because they originally wanted to make this movie to base it in the 1970s to save money. So they wouldn't have to get all these old cars and old suits and guns and everything else, and base it in 1940s New York, which would have sucked. So basing this in the 1940s, you're like, yeah, that just makes a lot of sense that everyone is racist. Like, duh. not that they're any less racist in 1970s, but like
or 2020s.
Yeah, or 2020s. But it just
you can get off some real racism in your movie if you said it way back there, because they got some real racism off in this film.
Oh my god, it's like they practiced it. It was crazy. The thing with basing it in the 1940s, I think, really plays really well with kind of just how the movie looks in general, because it's they're still filming with film in 1970. Duh. So it kind of just plays better as a how do they get away with all of this stuff because we don't have DNA evidence or fingerprints or anything like that. Like and that also plays a lot easier.
Because yeah, bro, they just
and also
some in broad day.
Yeah, some of that stuff was really happening. Let's not act like they're just writing a script. Like the story of the mafia in America is some of the wildest shit ever to draw from. Like shit like this was really happening. People were really getting shot in broad daylight, and everybody in the community knew who did it, and nobody could tell the cops. Like
the story behind The Offer, the show that they're making, is that the mob actively did not want them to make this movie.
Facts.
Because they're like, oh, it's putting us in a bad light. Like, bro, you're the mob.
You're the mob. What good light is it?
They were like, this is the Italian Defamation League was very against this movie being released, and they was but the mob itself was literally like, we don't want this movie coming out, and they had to do certain negotiations, and certain stuff had to get taken out of the script because they had to get right. Like the mob was like, no, you're not putting that movie out like that. These dudes were massive. These dudes had massive amounts of capital and political power. So it's like, I'm leaning on this movie studio. Like, y'all know how I get down. Y'all better not put that movie out like that, or else it's gonna be people popping up with horses in their beds. Like, y'all better chill out, bro. So,
but hey, I gotta say the Italian Anti-Defamation League or whatever, they were on to something because like 50 years later, like everyone's talking like Marlon Brando when they want to make fun of Italian.
And also, the mob was absolutely right. That they knew you can't put this shit out like they were right. Like people gonna watch.
We're
this
cooked
shit.
out here.
Yeah, we're cooked. We are cooked.
the easiest impression in the world to do is like, I'm gonna make him an offer you can't refuse. When you come to me in the day of my daughter's wedding.
The Italians who were like, nah, bro, you can't put this movie out. This will be bad for us. They were on to something. Like they peep game.
Wait. And then my other nitpick is that they literally just had a 16-year-old girl like go topless in this movie.
Yeah,
y'all's favorite movie is problematic. I'll just say that to everybody. Like most movies are problematic.
We all have problematic faves.
Yeah, we all have problematic faves. But like Francis, what are you doing, my guy?
What are you doing?
Very nasty hours, bro. Very nasty.
But yeah, that hasn't aged great. The racism and the other thing. Not great, but
not great.
The rest of it is sublime, to be completely honest with you.
Incredible film. Like
the story, real quick before we get into our favorite like scenes and stuff, the story of Francis Ford Coppola is incredible that he made this film to me. And I just love talking about the history of this because I did like the deep dive and I've listened to a couple podcasts on it. Like he was like making bad movies. He was like making like art house movies and movies that tanked and not commercially successful films. And he was one of the ones that they're like, he was like the sixth choice to come and make this movie. And I compared it when looking at and going back and looking at his previous filmography before he made this movie. It would be like if James
he just got lost again.
If James Franco was trying to be a director for like 15 years, got his chance to make The Godfather, like, and he just blew it out of like, what, like it really is like that because you go and you look at James Franco's other movies and it's like 35% on Rotten Tomatoes or 3.5 on IMDb. Go and look at Francis Ford Coppola's previous work, and then he just reels off one of the greatest runs in history where he goes Godfather Part 2, Apocalypse Now.
You know what it feels like? We always compare shit to sports on this podcast, but I was talking about this with some people earlier today. You remember how like Joe Burrow was just some dude? And then all of a sudden he was just fucking Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
LSU was the greatest team of all time. And he won the
Heisman. Started in Austin, Texas. He was just a guy, and then he went to Austin, Texas. He threw about 19 touchdowns in one game and did us all types of dirty.
And then all of a sudden it was like, holy shit.
And then he became now he just almost went to the Super Bowl in his rookie. I knew that until he came to Texas and ruined my life. props to Joe Burrow, Alabama. Here are my feelings.
Yeah, because like the first couple years, like you got beat out at Ohio State, came to LSU, and he was like, okay. And then
Francis Ford Coppola was T-Mac before Orlando.
Wait a second. No. That's disrespectful. You can't do that. T-Mac before Orlando was great.
T-Mac before Orlando was scoring 15 points off the bench. Like,
you got to stop this T-Mac slander, right? We can't. Even though T-Mac's
my favorite person, like one of my favorite player of all time. He was not T-Mac, Hall of Fame T-Mac until he went to Orlando. He just was not.
But also T-Mac don't have a godfather though. T-Mac don't have a godfather.
T-Mac wants you scoring titles.
T-Mac don't have a godfather though. No disrespect. He's more like a Forrest Gump, maybe a Forrest Gump.
He's a Bob Zemeckis. Yeah. So he, after making just films that no one saw, he goes, The Godfather Part 2, The Outsiders, or Apocalypse Now, The Outsiders, and a bunch of movies that like Rumblefish and some other movies that people love. And then he just like whatever the rest of his career. He's just made in the shade. He doesn't even have to like really do anything. He doesn't really make any other great films, to be completely honest with you. Like he does The Godfather Part 3, which people actively hate. Jack, the movie where Robin Williams plays basically a mentally challenged person. And then he plays, and then he does.
I always forget that he did Jack. I watched the movie.
Yeah, he does Jack, and then he does like, I think the last great movie he made was like The Rainmaker.
Never saw.
People like The Rainmaker.
Yeah, it's good, but it's just like he makes
it ain't The Godfather though.
Well, yeah, he makes these elite movies in a row, and then it's just like whatever.
That's
like
it.
It's so crazy. I don't know. Sorry, I just had to go on that tangent.
Yeah, he's like Kanye West. He's like Kanye West. Kanye West is in his, The Rainmaker stage right now. But before that, he made it The Godfather.
Yeah, it's fair. Now he's just like he just makes cheap wine, and
he's still alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did not know he was still among us.
He is very much. He was at the Oscars.
Still alive. Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, he was with Pacino and De Niro.
Shit. See,
this movie was made 50 years ago, and he still is alive and ticking, and he made The Godfather.
I told y'all, bros. Only two things happened at the Oscars: Licorice Pizza lost, and Will Smith slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. That's it. Nothing else.
And the story of him too is, if you don't know, he's like a historically terrible businessman too. Like he's just historically bad, and he was bankrupt.
Not working?
No, the wine is now working, but before he was like he made a company with like George Lucas also had some sort of a hand in this film also in The Godfather. And he made a company. He was like good friends with George Lucas. They started a film studio. Part of the reason people think that he took The Godfather was for money to pay off debts to his company. And then he just made The Godfather. So yeah. Anyway,
hey, bro, when the rent due, you make some shit move, bro. Like the rent was due.
Yeah, I think people have said he works best under pressure, like under a time crunch, because given his own devices, he'll just take forever to do whatever he wants.
We call that in 2022. We call that undiagnosed ADHD.
Yeah. All right. So favorite scenes from this movie. Go ahead.
Might be my favorite scene from all the movies, to be honest with you. It's the baptism scene. Holy shit. Like it gets no better. Like a perfect movie scene, fam. Like there's no better way to like crown Michael as the Godfather than by him literally becoming a godfather and pulling off like 5 red weddings at once. Like he's just killing all the ops while he's at church disavowing Satan. Like it's incredible. And like I mentioned earlier, my favorite death in the film, it's got to be fucking Mo Green putting his glasses on.
We haven't even talked about Mo Green.
Just to get shot through his glasses, bro.
Making waitresses 4 at a time.
Who do you think you are? I'm Mo Green.
You don't
I
come
was
to
making
Vegas
my
to talk
bones
to
when
a
you were
guy
begging
like Mo Green.
cheerleaders.
I straightened them out a bit. You straighten out my brother? Yeah.
Just
Fucking-
the most, hey. Was this just like,
can't-
fucking hey?
That's when I knew I didn't like Fredo. When Fredo said, "Michael, you don't come to Vegas and talk to a man like Mo Green like that." And in my head, I was thinking, "Who the fuck is Mo Green? Why
Who
can't
the
Mo
fuck
Green
is
be
Mo
talking to
Green
us?
to me?
I don't fuck with Fredo, bro. My brother would never do that to me. I don't fuck with Fredo at all. But you know, Mo Green, he made some points. Okay, like okay, maybe Fredo shouldn't have been living like that, but you can't be beating up my brother. Like if I'm the boss, you come to me. I'll straighten him out, but don't straighten out my brother, bro. Don't do that.
Mo
Yeah,
Green
you know
looked
what I'm
like
Michael.
Mo Green looked like every 70s actor that has ever existed.
Yeah.
I couldn't place him. Like he looked almost like Chevy Chase. Like he looked almost like Harrison Ford. Like I couldn't place who this guy was. And like it just
he's
is
Mo
crazy.
Green
Yeah.
to me forever. Like every time I see someone who looks like that, I'm like, oh, it's Mo Green.
I was making my bones where you're going out with cheerleaders. Hey. It's
But
incredible.
yeah, he's definitely the most. Yeah, the Italian Anti-Defamation League was definitely like, yeah, Mo Green we can't abide that.
No, thank you, sir. No.
Mo Green was a bridge too far. What was that?
Mo Green is the most. What's going on here? Like,
Hey, there's so many people in this fucking movie that are just like that's the sentence. There's so many people in this movie. Period. But there's so many people just coming in like, oh, we got like a first-year director. I'm gonna throw my fastball, and they are just and Coppola let him go. Like we keep going back to it. The movie executive. I cannot be made to look ridiculous.
He is the most incredible thing in this movie.
Oh, he's so fucking good. And like, just I mean, I knew about the horse head thing before I saw the movie, obviously, because that's like an iconic thing. But had I not known that was happening, and
Real
that,
horse head, by the way.
Yeah, had that like been a surprise to me, I can't imagine like seeing that shit for the first time, not knowing what's coming. Like that just had to be fucking incredible.
I just love that they use a real horse head. Like I know PETA probably didn't love it, but like the fact that they use a real horse head just really adds. That scene is so. Can you imagine that? Like that would be the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. Like. You know how big a horse is? That take up the whole fucking bed. Like that would be scary as fuck.
The rumor is that he didn't know it was going to be a real horse head, and so like partially his screams are really real, which I don't know how you would know that because you got to get in bed and have blood put all over you. Like I don't know
how can they bring
would...
a real human horse head that probably smells horrendous into a room and you don't know that it's in there? You have to know that it's in there.
But yeah, that's all. Like when you were doing nitpicks earlier, I thought that was going to be one of them. Like, how does somebody sneak an entire horse head into your bed while you're sleeping?
He sleeps hard as fuck.
That dude sleeps real good. He's very rich and he sleeps very comfortably because he didn't move for shit.
Because like I'm sure carrying a horse head, they were like fucking grunting, bunting into shit, like
dropping shit all over.
Fuck! God damn it, Fredo!
There's literally blood spraying on the ground as they carried into your house. Like, how do you not hear any of this?
The director's
turn the head diagonal.
Pivot. Yeah, the director's kind of like, get the fucking go in the no, you lift up the cup. No, you lift up the god damn it. That's the first of all, how hard is it to decapitate a horse? Holy shit. Like that has to take multiple power saws or something.
Yeah,
like you're like,
not that we subscribe to such a thing on this podcast. PETA not gonna put no allegations on us.
We are not advocating. We're just we're just trying to understand.
1972, how hard was it to decapitate a horse?
Because like, I mean, I guess you have to like shoot it first, and then you got to go to work with the saw. But like,
no, they used a dead horse. They didn't kill a horse for this purpose.
I'm saying
I'm talking like in the movie. It's like within the world of the movie, not like
no, just shoot it.
That's so fun. It's so weird. I will say that's another nitpick at the very beginning of the movie because he goes and it hard cuts from him leaving the studio to now he's at his house. Well, if I would have known you were Don Corleone, It was just like it just immediately goes to the next scene. If you watch it, it's like, get out of here, racial slur. And then it's the next scene is, well, if I would have known. There's no sort of like interplay between them.
I don't want no beef with the Corleones.
Yeah. But then he gets up and he screams at him at dinner.
Well, he said he had to learn him. He said, I got to tell you, she was the best I ever had. She was beautiful. He was really hurt by this.
Beautiful. Also, we talked about it a little bit, but the obvious
with his olive oil,
olive oil voice.
That was incredible bars.
Cannot be made to look ridiculous. The obvious stand-in for Frank Sinatra is just so funny.
So funny. But like the funniest part of it to me was like, I don't know what the standards were in 1972, but like looking at girls like fawn over him as he showed up to that wedding, I was like, for real? This y'all's man. This is the one.
Yeah, what's the equivalent of like a middle-aged dude like
Frank Sinatra? You can't. I'm black as well.
That's not Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, I'm talking about Johnny Fontaine. Yeah. Like him pulling up to the party, I was like, "This is the heartthrob. Like this is the best y'all got."
You know, some of the R&B people be ugly, but the women love them because they sing well. Like,
who's the Johnny Fontaine equivalent?
Who's the Johnny Fontaine of today?
There are some ugly people out there that's got a lot of trim out here for singing songs. Okay, did you see Frank Sinatra?
Yeah.
You know, he's
Jackie Kennedy. They gave a lot of love just for being there, just for being around. So just maybe Johnny Fontaine around makes it.
You know who didn't give love to Jackie Kennedy? John. John F.
You can be around, and that's all. They'll love you for it. I won't.
Oh man, he never got to see this movie. That's crazy.
Yeah, huh?
Damn.
I don't know why. Like, damn. That thought John Kennedy never got to see The Godfather. Fuck. R.I.P. Gone too soon. It's like that tweet about like Rosa Parks lived long enough that she could have saw Shrek. Like, same energy.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That is insane that Rosa Parks literally like saw Shrek or like could have seen Shrek. Like, she lived a very long life. That's a blessing, man. Also, I think Rosa Parks would have fucking loved Shrek. It's a great film.
Oh my god. Just famous figures who she never got to see The Godfather.
Damn, Muhammad Gandhi never got to see The Godfather.
Michael Bay put Rosa Parks into Transformers, and Rosa Parks didn't see that shit. She said, "Fuck this! I'm not watching this shit. Why am I in this movie?"
Oh my
Rosa
god!
Parks did not want to see that shit, bro. She did not watch that film.
Holy shit!
Oh my god!
She's like, "I'm out of here, bro. Before any fucking thing else happens, get me out of here."
Frederick Douglass never got to see Armageddon.
R.I.P. Gone too soon.
Gone too soon. Oh my god.
Betty White gets to make it to the Batman.
This is awful content.
Oh, I'm sweating. Oh shit.
Guys, we don't think death is funny. We're sorry.
It's not. But John
Death
Kennedy missing
funny.
out on the Godfather. It's just,
Roy, you just
I
derailed
don't
us.
know
That was the
why.
worst derailment we've ever had.
I don't know why that has me crying right now. Holy shit.
You know what? It's not that. It's everybody going silent and Teach going, damn. Like it was like Okay. Oh shit.
Speaking of death, what is
Oh
your
my
favorite
God.
death scene in the movie?
Yes, Royden, give us your favorite death scene.
My favorite death scene. I mean, it's Sunny because it's literally the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my
He
entire
got
life.
shot about 9,000 times.
He got shot 1,000 times, and the funniest thing is that I saw like the toll booth director or whatever just duck behind like
He
the
ducks
thing, and
down.
and they spray that thing with 1,000 bullets. He's
How did
dead
that
too.
toll booth guy not die? He definitely died, bro.
The funniest part about that scene is that Sonny gets shot like 50 times and then gets out of the car. What are you doing, bro? What is your move?
By the way, that's
Same way
Denzel's
they
death.
did Denzel. They did Denzel the same way. They
It's
definitely did that
Denzel,
for
like that's
Cleo
Antoine
set it off.
Fuqua, like
Everybody
legitimately
has done that
yeah.
now.
And he's just like, blah, 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 like it's just like it is insane. First of all, that's also kind of a nitpick too. Is like, how do they set that up? I know it's because Carlo does like sets it up, like basically, but it feels very serendipitous that they're also there. Like they could have been waiting for like 15 days.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't set. They set it up with Carlo.
I know they set it up with Carlo, but it feels like I'm just waiting for an opportunity to beat the shit out of Talia Shire. So like,
was he like, you know what? I'm not gonna acknowledge dinner. She's gonna flip out, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of her, and then like they can set us up at the toll booth. Then
y'all got to be ready at a moment's notice because she doesn't cook that often. Like sometimes
they do that so that you don't see that Carlo has now turned. You don't know that he has turned yet, so you're just seeing him as the piece of shit husband. You don't know that he's actually working with the ops. So it's definitely a weird, like, there had to be a better way to, like, get your brother to come now, but it had to be something serious for him to, like, get up during dinner and drive all the way across the damn toll road. Like, he's not just going to get up for nothing. You got to do something. Not that I advocate for beating women, but, you know.
You got to, hey, sometimes, that's what you're saying. It's like, sometimes you got to, like, throw the meatballs around. You know what I mean?
If you already have committed to be now dealing with your ops, even though you're literally married into the family of the person you're trying to have killed, yes, your wife's brother. Like, I know he beat your ass, but like, that's your wife's brother.
You had it coming, to be honest.
Like, you definitely had it coming. It's not like he gave you ass up you didn't deserve. You deserved it.
You should have charged that one to the game, dog, and you still be alive.
Like, I was wilding. My bad. He right. I should keep my hands off my woman. Like, I'm tripping. Yeah.
I am never going to touch
went
your
full the other way. He was like, he took such great. He did get the shit beat out. The best fight scene.
I will say this:
he got
Sonny
the shit beat out.
Sonny fucked up. He should have killed him first. He should have killed him. He should have killed him.
No questions asked.
3 months ago.
Yeah,
he loves his sister too much.
Hey, well,
Michael,
I got him.
Sonny not like Michael, because you're gonna see what about Michael, bro. You're gonna see very soon how Sonny treat his siblings.
Yeah,
or how Michael treat his siblings. Sonny wasn't like Michael.
At the end of the Godfather 1, Michael's still in these streets and Sonny is not. So it tells you who up. Like,
I really want to tweet JFK didn't get to see the Godfather. That's crazy.
Holy shit. I don't know why like that. I don't know why that broke me like it did, but
I'm gonna leave that one in the drafts.
I can't wait to tweet that clip out.
We should also say that this film, like Puzo is obviously credited as a writer on the movie. They collaborated pretty closely with Puzo. It wasn't like they just acquired the rights. Like Puzo was actually, like saying we shouldn't do this, we should do that. So he actually had.
He wrote the novel, right?
And how they shaped. Yeah. He wrote the novel, but when they were making the movie, he was very much involved, and so they would have to bounce stuff off of him. And there's decisions that are made in The Godfather 2 that Puzo was originally against. He was like, don't do that. And they had to go convince him. They had to sit down with him and convince him, this is what we should do. And he was like, I'll give you that if you give me that. They literally are like having a negotiation of what gets in, what doesn't get in to make both these movies. Both of them were made that.
I know that. That was dope.
He also got a lot of stuff wrong, though, too, about like, but like historically wrong about Italian mob culture and stuff like that as well. Which subsequently has now, like you said, made it into the cultural lexicon, which is like chalk that one up to the game, I guess. But like it is really funny that he just got to be wrong about a lot of this stuff, and now it is just accepted as tradition. Robert Towne wrote one of the best scenes. If you don't know who Robert Towne is, Robert Towne won an Oscar for Chinatown.
Incredible cinema.
He's also been nominated for several other Oscars for writing, but he wrote the scene between Michael and the Godfather in the garden, where they're talking about it. He's like, I didn't ever want this for you. And it's like, he's like, I wanted you to be a senator or whatever. He's like, there's still time. He wrote that. So
that scene, by the way, like when Brando's telling him about like the Barzini meeting and all this other shit, I was like, hey yo, Jay-Z used that. Like, that's a Jay-Z bar now. I like
Barzini meet.
Yeah. I had never thought about that shit before. Like I'd seen this movie before, and obviously I listened to that Jay-Z like verse a lot, but like I never really like connected the two. And I was like, oh shit.
So much of this, especially by Jay-Z, but so much of this movie has been just also, I don't want to say co-opted, but used in rap culture as well, and rap lyrics and songs. It's really cool, actually. Yeah. Like going back and listening to some stuff, and you're like early Jay-Z or not early Jay-Z, but like a lot of that stuff has been really co-opted. And even like Chris Rock had something like that shit would blow up like the Godfather, like that joke. No, it was the OJ joke.
Era, the rappers of my era loved the Godfather and all those Italian mob boss movies, and they were all basically playing mob bosses in the reps, and they took from these things. It's like the greatest story of like betrayal. It's like it's always all these movies are about betrayal, or like you thought you were gonna get one over on somebody, but they got one over on you first. Everybody's paranoid at all times. They literally trying to go back in hospital and kill the ops. Like, damn, we fucked up. He took 5 shots, but we got to finish this. So we just gonna run him to the hospital and get him done now. Like, I got to make the baker dude look like a heavy so that my ops don't come in here blasting. Yeah. Like, it's perfect. It's perfectly made to cross over into rap culture. It's like a marriage made in heaven in terms of content for rappers.
It's everything you love about the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. Like literally in like 3 hours, you get all that shit. Like all the betrayal, the family, the rivalries, the murder. You get all that shit. Like 6 seasons of Game of Thrones in 3 hours.
I don't know if you can make this movie now. I think this movie becomes a HBO miniseries.
No, they made this movie. It's called It's called The Irishman.
Well, that was made because Scorsese made that movie. Like, you're not giving this movie to fucking Robert Eggers and like saying,
thank God for that.
None of your movies have made any money. Like, and I know you're a visionary director, but go make this IP.
Instead of being,
you know what I mean?
Instead of being paranoid, like he would be seeing like literal visions of gods and villains and animals and stuff. That's what Michael would have been seeing if Robert Eggers' version of The Godfather.
Yeah,
plus, Robert Eggers not making no movies that happened before before Crocs existed. That's never happened.
No, it is kind of the equivalent where it's like, okay, we're gonna give this guy who's like a visionary filmmaker this like historic, like this best-selling IP. You know what I mean? It is really, really interesting.
It's perfect.
They just did it. It's not perfect, Northman,
but it's
the
perfect.
Northman is the new Godfather. It's perfect cinema.
We did love that movie.
Go see that shit, bro.
Phenomenal.
What was y'all's favorite death? Was it all the deaths for you at the very end, or I mean, I know that was your favorite scene, but like the Sonny death cracks me up. That's so like.
For me in particular, is Mo Green putting on his glasses to see what's happening and then getting shot right through his glasses.
The best death in the movie is the scene in the Italian restaurant. That is there's literally a rapper that made an album that was completely about this scene. Like that was the whole album concept. It was about this scene alone. That is the greatest scene in the film. It's the best death in the film. It only has one flaw, which is not really a flaw because people have tried to explain it away. The what's his face tells him to shoot him both 2 times, once in the head and once in the chest, and he only shoots the cop, or he only shoots the other mob boss guy one time and he shoots the cop twice, or vice versa, whatever. He only shoots 3 shots. There's no like, why do they have him say shoot him 4 times and then he only shoots 3? Other than that, it's literally a perfect movie scene.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I was saying my heart was beating out of my chest in that, because it is the classic thing that we now know of, like building tension, sort of, and even Coppola takes from other noir films like that, but in how to build the tension, like 2 characters don't know what another character does know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
or
you,
like he
audience,
hesitates for that 1 second, like when he's reaching for the gun, like behind the toilet, like hesitates for just a little bit, and you're like, "Fuck, is it not there?"
Stops. And you're like, at that point, you're still like, we don't know enough about Michael to know whether he's going to do it, which is why it works so well, because we know he's been told this, and we know he's not really in the gang like that. We know he's never really crossed this line before. So he volunteers for this thing, and you're like, okay, is he going to do it? And having them speak Italian beforehand while the cop is
with
over
no
subtitles, his face, looking like an idiot with no subtitles, is just such a great decision. I love every time I watch it that there's no subtitles, because you understand that you don't need to hear the words. You know what the conversation is, but here's what it would actually sound like if this were a real thing. It would sound like this, and there wouldn't be subtitles. Imagine you are one of the other people at the restaurant. This is what it would sound like in this space. He's so tense. He's kind of absent in the way that he has this gaze where he's like kind of looking at them and paying attention to them, but kind of like somewhere very different than them. His brain's like in 2 places. He's just like, all right, well, I got to prepare myself to do this.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to kill you no matter what you say right now. But
we've already passed the point of no return. Like, we're having this conversation. I'm just trying to lure you into a false sense of security. So he's trading the bars back and forth. I need representations that my father will be left alone, which is exactly what you said in that situation if you thought you were actually bargaining. Okay, cool. I'm going to go take a piss. And then the cop's like, I've seen him. I frisked him. I frisked 1,000 young punks. It's just hilarious.
The last thing that this guy does in his life is like grab Michael Corleone's dick. Then he's dead.
The weirdest decision that Coppola makes in this movie, it's the weirdest blocking decision that he makes in this movie, is I need to frisk you in the front seat of this car.
Yeah, like
it just is like just weird. It just is a weird, like half of Michael's back covers up the frame of the camera. You know what I mean? Like it just is like it's just like, okay, well, we wanted to go for complete realism here, but like you didn't need to.
Yes, you did.
It just is a weird, it's just a weird thing that he puts in. We need to frisk you, and then he just turns his back to the camera and covers up the camera. It's a weird. That's the weirdest
you
blocking.
Feel like you were in the car.
So obviously, what do we think about? And this is what I took. Like, obviously, like the whole thing is Pacino, who was I think 32 at the time. He's supposed to be playing the younger brother. Him and James Caan are the same age, actually, in this movie. But like, Pacino obviously has the incredible character arc throughout that, and into 2 apparently. But just as a one-off performance from like one of the greatest living actors, who was 40 at the time, hadn't had really a big hit, but had sort of redefined what film acting was, or wrote the book on what film acting could be, Marlon Brando. Like, what do we think about this sort of one-off thing where he's obviously trying something weird? He's being weird on set. He's wearing just prosthetic to make his mouth sound like this. And then he's like, didn't even bother to learn his lines. Like, but it's still, what do we think about his sort of thing, like going back and looking at it 50 years later?
You can't tell, and that is just greatness personified. If Michael Jordan scores 45 points in a game, you don't know what he prepared. Like, somebody just came out this week, I think BJ Armstrong came out this week and said, y'all have no idea how good Michael Jordan could have been. He literally did not sleep for 14 years. He did not sleep. This man this man was out there doing people, being the greatest the game has ever seen with no sleep. BJ Armstrong's like, Michael Jordan could have been much greater. He lived the craziest life ever. Like, Brando is so good. He's learned so much. He's had so much experience that he can half-ass this role and still give a performance like that. He's incredible. He's perfect. It's amazing that he do that. it's incredible to know that like this guy didn't really prepare for this, and maybe wasn't as dedicated as he should have been, and he still dropped 65 in a playoff game. Like it's crazy.
For me, it's like I'm usually not one of those people to like really get on acting or whatever and like pick out the nuances or whatever. I'm a regular fucking person. I don't know those things, but I was hanging on every fucking word that he was saying. Like, obviously, you can like clip parts of it and make it very, very funny. Like, and the accent is hilarious and shit like that.
And sometimes you just legitimately cannot understand him unless you have subtitles.
Yeah, but I was like legit,
especially
like
when
hanging
he's
on
sick,
every
so
word.
you
I was
really
like,
can't-
I'm fucking moved. Like I respect this man. This is an OG in the game. Look at him operating like a fucking Don. That's what he is. And it just worked for me. I don't know.
What does he say when he's at the meeting of the 5 families where he's like, is something should befall my son? Like a cop shoots him or he dies in his prison cell. Unfortunate accident befalls my son, or he gets struck by lightning. I'm going to take that very personally. Like, it's just like he's basically like, I'm going to get very upset. And it's just like that is one of the greatest things ever, where he's just like, some unfortunate accident should befall my son. And he's just mumbling his way through it. But
some unsolved mystery happens to my son. I'm gonna solve that shit. I'm gonna know it's y'all.
Yeah. But you know what's funny to me about his performance is because he's obviously like looking away off camera to like look at cue cards and stuff like that. And like he's taking these pauses because of that. While he's doing it, he'll do something like he'll scratch his face or he'll like scratch his brow and like take pauses where people wouldn't normally do that. You know what I mean?
It just makes them cooler.
Yeah. Like you come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding. You ask me for something. Like here, he's like, you come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding. Pause. Look at cue card. It like makes it give it more weight. Weirdly. It's the weirdest thing ever because you know that he's fucking up because of the history of this movie, but he's not in the movie. It's so weird.
In the movie, he's doing it exactly like it should be done.
Yeah. Incredible directing.
Like, divine. Incredible directing. Incredible editing. They really bodied this. They really went crazy.
Also, the cinematographer is incredibly funny, like to look back on it, because basically he was like, I'm going to do what I want. And he basically shot everybody in the dark in this movie. Everybody is like covered in shadow, which ends up working because most of the time you can only see like half of Brando's face. And like and then when Michael turns, when Pacino turns to the Godfather, it really is like you can only see like half of his face. It is at most times.
Speaking of his turn to the Godfather, what an incredible way to end a fucking film. We kind of talked about this earlier a little bit, but we got to get into it. Like, first of all, like I said, the baptism scene where he literally becomes a godfather, like to this child, and becomes the Godfather because he's killed all these fucking rivals. Incredible. But then, like, when his sister comes in and is like, you killed my husband, you bitch, my son's an orphan, whatever.
You bastard!
You bastard. After that,
Michael, oh my God, Michael. It's very bad.
But... And then Diane Keaton's like, no, there's no way. Is it true, Michael? Is it? Nah, fam, I wouldn't do that. You know me.
But he's like, never ask me about my work. And
this
like,
one time I let you ask me about my work. This one time.
One time. And like that lured her in. Like, it's perfect. It's like, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna tell you the truth right now. Ask me anything. I got you right now. All right, cool. So is it true? No, it's not. Oh, thank God. You told me I could ask one time. You were going to tell me the truth, and you did. Great. Done. Let me go to the other room. Back to my shit. And then immediately, Don Corleone. Oh, hell yeah. We back up, baby. Let's go.
They come in there and they kiss his hand. But to end, like, we've spent the entire movie with with these just, murderous asshole dudes, and then to end with the final shot of a particular, she married into this, but like particularly innocent sort of woman looking directly into the camera.
Yeah.
And you're like, and the door closes on her. You're like, oh no. You know what I mean? Like, oh no. And we don't spend that much time with Kay. Like, she kind of becomes an afterthought after a while. And really, even when they get married and have a kid, she's still kind of an afterthought. And it's just really in that final scene where she's like, it all kind of comes to a head, which is great acting by Pacino and Diane Keaton to like sell that. But you don't really see a lot of their like marriage. They're together in the beginning. There's that whole middle part where he gets married, his wife dies, and like then he comes back a year later and is like, so what about it?
Yeah, she pops in just long enough for you to be like, oh yeah, she's around, and then goes away a little bit. Like, this movie is so fucking efficient with its 3 hours. It's like, we're gonna tell you everything you need. We're not gonna tell you anything you don't. You might have forgotten about Kay, and we know you're probably forgotten about Kay at this point in the runtime. So here she is. She tried to give Michael a letter. She still wants him back. Don't forget, she exists. Cool. Now we're gonna put her back over here. Not think about her again until it's time.
Yeah. Oh man. Any other scenes stand out to you before we move on to our next thing?
All of them. This is the greatest. I love the older guy who teaches him how to shoot the gun. He's just phenomenal in the way that he delivers his performance. When he comes back, he's got to kill Paulie. He's like, what happened to Paulie? Paulie, won't see him no more. Just casually as he goes about making the spaghetti
won't
sauce.
See him for a while.
It's just fucking swag. It's just amazing. Incredible. Like, so many people are giving such great performances all across the film. Like, it's the baker guy is good. The guy who owns the mortuary is good. Like, just people are just going
Look
for
how they
it.
massacred my boy.
Look at how they massacred my boy.
I also love the scene where it's like where Vito is still alive and Michael is like has become the new like Don basically, and so all the people are like, you gonna let your son like talk to us like this, bro? Like, we ain't trying to do this bullshit. Like, and Vito's like, nah, he's in charge. Like, I'm calling ISO here. Listen to the boy.
Well, it's like he's also in those scenes too. He starts to like dress like a retiree too. He starts like wearing like a sweater and like everything else. It is really interesting. Yeah, Fredo stinks. We talked about that. Can't even get his gun out.
Trash.
The assassins that tried to kill him stink because they shot this man 15 times from point blank range. Go back and watch it. It literally is. They empty the clip and he's like, they shot him 5 times. What?
And
I think they shot him more than that.
How do you not kill a like 70-year-old man? Like, shooting at point blank? Like, come on, get it together, kids.
Let's see.
Also, my guy at the end, the like fake cop who was part of the baptism murder.
Oh yeah.
He does like the sassiest aim I've ever seen with a pistol.
Like
squats.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that?
The squat and like roll around and point. And he nailed the guy, what's his name? Barzini.
Yeah, Barzini.
He nails him from like up the stairs with a handgun. Like, he just.
It was the fucking rolling point. He like just. I was like, but you ain't got a style on me as you kill me, bro. Like, just shoot me like a regular person, fam. You ain't gotta get style points with it.
I will say for the uninformed, like I've seen a ton from this movie and I just know it because of cinema history. But like, and this isn't a knock of the movie. Like, the movie, like I said this earlier in my review, like if you like are even remotely sidetracked for a minute, you will lose who is the heads of some of these families until the very end, when you kind of just realize like, oh, just Michael killed everyone. Because there's like a moment where Don Corleone, it says like, whoever comes to you with the merger or whatever, with the peace agreement, is the one that betrayed you. So they knock that guy out, and like you see that, but you don't kind of realize like, so is it Barzini, or is it the Tattaglia family, or like is it like sort of? So he just you don't really know, but in the end, it's like they've all conspired together. So you kind of figure that out. But in the intermediate, you're like, who is trying to kill all these people? So it is sort of like you do lose the forest. You can't really see the forest through the trees in the middle of like all of these Italian names being thrown at you at one time. At least for me, I will say that.
Yeah. Also, we gotta point out that my man, who was trying to negotiate for his life at the end, it's like, nah, dog. Like you got caught. We're not about to let you out of this, bro. Like,
incredible Duval thing. Incredible Duval. To be like, no, sorry, I can't.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Tell him it was just business. Like, yeah, okay, we'll do that. Whatever. Yeah, we're gonna go up to our brother and be like, yeah, we killed the guy, but he said it was just business. We hope you know that.
I also love the scene with Carlo where he finally reveals to Carlo that he knows you have to answer for Sonny, Carlo. Like, that scene is just so incredible. Classic Pacino. Man. He's just so good. It's just
what's the best Pacino? Is that the best of Pacino? Obviously, like, I think the weight of the baptism scene holds a lot, and just Pacino, like, just looking how he looks and staring, and like in the way that they filmed that scene, basically he looks like the devil.
Renounce them.
He looks like the devil. Like, that's cold-blooded, but like, is the best Pacino scene the very end, or is the best Pacino I think the best Pacino scene, when I said he was cold-blooded, was when they go to Carlo's house and he's like, put the phone down. You know what I mean? He's like, you gotta answer for Sonny. He's like, we know you did it. He's like, we're not gonna. He just keeps making these promises. He's like, and then all of a sudden they just choke him. And I think that's the best.
Incredible.
I think that's the best Pacino, is when he goes to Carlo for the first time.
But my favorite, like, obviously my favorite is the baptism. I keep saying that, but the first time that I was like, yeah, dude, this dude's got it, was when he was like, you're out, Tom. Like, shut the fuck up talking to me. Like, you're done. It's like you're going to Vegas. You're gonna go hold it down out there.
What? Like, and I didn't understand that, because obviously Tom wasn't out. Was that a long play to get Carlo to trust them? Is that what that was?
Nah, Tom is out. Like out of being the consigliere.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. He basically got demoted because my dad's gonna be my consigliere because he was the mob boss, and
he was
basically got demoted.
Tom, we love you, but nah. Like,
Tom needed to do the Denzel. He needed one moment, the Denzel. You're gonna do this shit to me,
yeah. Because he was like, "Hey, we gotta pull off like fucking 5 murders while I'm at this baptism." Tom, I know you ain't about it. Like, I know you ain't gonna be able to hold it down. You
definitely not gonna be able to hold it down when we murder literally all of our ops at the same time.
We love you. We appreciate you. You can intimidate some people with like horse heads and shit, but like, I gotta murder 6 dudes in in like a 10-minute span. I have 10 minutes to simultaneously murder 6 people. You're not about this life. You're going to Vegas. Yeah,
that's the greatest GTA mission of all time, right there. We saw. You just gotta kill like 6 dudes in like 5 minutes. There's a timer. You gotta go cross town, kill this dude. Go across town, kill that dude. It's gotta happen in like 9 minutes. Incredible.
I love it's like, we're gonna kill all the heads of these huge mob boss families and Mo Green.
Just because we don't like the guy.
I don't like his face.
He had to go.
I don't fuck with that dude. You're out.
Well, they had to kill him because they had to take over the Vegas casino, and he wasn't going to give it up. That's why he had to go. It wasn't just because they didn't like him.
He tried to refuse the offer. He couldn't refuse. Yeah.
They made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and he refused it. Like, what were we supposed to do?
Okay, so we're missing. Grab the gun, take the cannoli. Hey, why don't you tell that pretty girl that you love her? Here's how you make a sauce. And they just, which is actually how you make, like you can follow that recipe. I think.
Of course.
Major key. He uses sugar. People, it's very important.
That's
Sugar
very important.
spaghetti
This
sauce.
sauce should have a little sugar in it. That's all. That's some facts, and I'm glad you're speaking truth on this podcast.
Oh, fine. Not finally, because we're gonna keep remembering scenes from this movie. But like the thing that I thought was actually really cool, and this is where I think George Lucas actually helped, the newspaper montage, where instead of showing like, okay, we're just gonna show these gun battles, they show the newspaper montage, which is something that I think they took basically like from Citizen Kane, but they show the mob boss battles, and throughout the year that Michael is in Sicily, they show the mob boss battles through a montage of newspaper clippings. And I thought that was really effective. They didn't waste a ton of time to like show the passage of time there. And I thought that was actually really, like, it's not the first time I've ever seen that in a movie, but it is one of the things where it's like they could have wasted a ton more time on this, actually. Yeah. So that was actually really smart.
Glad they did not do that.
This movie's so long, man. I know people are like, oh, it's not a wasted moment. I'm like, yeah, well, it is long. It is long. Holy shit. Yeah. So
shout out to the movie Holes for stealing the newspaper montage clips for The Godfather. You know, influences everywhere.
Oh man!
All right, now we're gonna make some people mad on this podcast. I'm excited.
Yeah, we have to.
We're gonna
right after this ad break.
Right after this ad break, we're gonna talk about the best quote unquote movies we have not seen. Right after this ad break from Apollo Houston. All right, 1 second. We'll be right back.
I'm gonna get some water real quick.
Oh man. Thank you so much for YouTube viewers for watching us literally die laughing on screen. I gotta watch the second one of these movies. I think I will. All these movies are on Paramount Plus right now. They finally came back to streaming. Oh, man. Good Lord. All right.
I'm going to just look up the greatest movies of all time and see which ones I haven't seen.
Yeah, me too.
I got two very specific answers.
Two very specific.
Yes.
All right. We aren't gonna draft because that wouldn't make sense. Just because like we haven't seen the movies, so
just a couple hot takes.
Best movies, and by this we mean critically acclaimed or critically well received, or even to that point, well loved by fans. Movies we haven't seen. Tej, what are your two like very specific picks that you have?
This is very easy. One is Citizen Kane. I'm not watching that shit. I'm sorry, bros. I don't care how good it is. I don't care. I'm not watching that.
That's
shit.
a pick for Dex.
Okay, I will never watch that
on
shit.
Twitter.
I'm not watching that movie. I'm sorry, guys. I appreciate all this done for us. I'm not watching that movie. But the second one, I actually have started this movie twice and got through about 25 minutes and turned that bullshit off, and I'm not ever watching it again. I don't care what y'all say about it. It's 2001: A Space Odyssey. That shit is huff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It is not good. I'm not watching that shit. I don't care that it's helped my favorite sci-fi movies. I appreciate it for doing that, but I'm not about to watch that movie. It stinks. I tried twice. It absolutely did not hold my attention. That shit is ass. So I'm not
literally
watching
never been interested. Like, I didn't even think
That's
about
just
that when I
ass.
was tweeting that earlier. But I also haven't seen that movie, and I'm not going to. I don't care.
When you go back and you look at that movie, like it's boring. It's very boring. When you go back and you look at that movie though as a precursor, like for what Star Wars became, it is astounding to look at. That doesn't make it an incredible story. It is astounding to look at what he did in 1969 to like go back and look at it because it all looks like they're actually in space and shit. It's crazy to look at. But it's weird and boring. The best parts of that movie are when it's like the space horror, sort of like almost alien vibes where the computer becomes sentient and stuff like that. But then it gets into like the meaning of life and humanity. And you're just like, what the fuck is this?
Usually that would be my thing. But yeah, I'm just not watching 2001: A Space Odyssey. Like I'm just not doing it. I'll have to.
I'll watch her for real cinema if I want to see some sentient beings and
talk about hell life. Yeah.
I'll watch real cinema.
A good movie.
Her is so much better than Has Any Right to Be.
So good.
Stunned by that movie. But the thing also with Citizen Kane in film school, I watched because I went to capital F film school. I took one film theory class. They did a recut of Citizen Kane where one of my professors like literally cut out all the boring shit. And he's like, we're gonna watch this in class. It's only like an hour and 30 minutes.
That's amazing.
It's the best way to watch that movie.
We love to see it.
But like some of the stuff
Citizen Kane is one of those things that like I would watch it if it came up for some reason, but I'm not gonna be like just by myself at the house. Like, you know what? Citizen Kane Day. We're doing it. Like, that's just not gonna happen for me.
I think Andrew Hammond tweeted to you, Dex, where he was like, or is it Andrew Hammond? I think he tweeted to you.
Yes.
The making of Citizen Kane is better than like the actual movie. Like the story behind.
Wait, is he talking about Mank? Because Mank is some huff.
Oh no, but that's basically the making. But like the history of the making of Citizen Kane is like because like Robert Hearst, or not Hearst. It is Hearst, but I don't know if it's Robert Hearst, who was still a billionaire. William Hearst? William Randolph Hearst. Yes. Sorry, Robert.
Oh, God, yes.
Was essentially the most powerful man in the world and also one of the most eccentric men in the world. And he just basically was like, I'm going to make a movie about that guy. And while he was still alive, and the guy was like, wait, what? And he did not want the movie to be released. So it is really interesting. Dex, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, there's so many. Like I just Google search.
There's so many
greatest movies of all time. There's so fucking many of these that I haven't seen and I have no interest in seeing. We can start with the most recent one that is like widely beloved. Shout out to Paul Thomas Anderson Hive, even though Lakers beat the Sox. I've never seen There Will Be Blood. I've started it like 3 times. Can't do it.
Yo, there would be blood and some huff, bro. You don't need to finish that film. Absolutely.
No, sir. What are we talking about?
You don't.
I've tried 3 different times to watch that.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Big power of the dog. Big power of the dog vibes. Big power of the dog vibes. Big.
I can appreciate. Like, I can watch the YouTube like clips and be like, okay, Daniel Day-Lewis acting his ass off. Great. I don't need to watch the rest of this movie.
You have Paul Dano and Daniel Day-Lewis going insane in that movie.
Paul Dano's best movie is The Batman. I don't need to watch that movie, bro. Why don't I can
watch
Heresy? You know, every
I drink your milkshake. I lick it up or whatever he said, and then he beat the fuck out of him with a bowling pin. I get it.
I get it.
Incredible.
I don't need to watch the rest of this movie, and I tried,
absolute
and I can't.
That movie is one of the few movies that, like, and I don't get pretentious. I try not to. If you read my writing, like, I try not to be pretentious about most of the movies that I watch, because it's like at the very end, it's supposed to be entertainment. I think that's the most thing that you can be is a great movie and entertaining.
Yeah.
I could see where you would say that There Will Be Blood's not truly entertaining. Like, I get it. Yeah, but this is the one pretentious thing.
Truthful hours on this podcast one of these days.
We might, to be honest.
Liquors, pizza, steaks. Boogie Nights doesn't stink, but it's
Nights
weird.
Fire, but
yeah,
it's
Boogie
weird.
Nights is very strange. There'll Be Blood. I just couldn't get through it. Couldn't do it.
The thing though that I saw described about that movie that I will be pretentious about is that you can take every frame of that movie and frame it and put it in your house, and somebody be like, "That's a really awesome photograph." That's
it looks
like
really cool.
where it looks really, really good. And that's where I stand with that movie, where it's like an incredible performance from Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano. But it's also like, that's one of the best looking movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's fair.
And I was stunned by it when I was like in 7th grade. So there's also that. But
I'm willing to take your word on it, though.
That's fair.
That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. What's some other ones?
Silence of the Lambs I haven't seen. Not that I'm like hostile to it. I just never got around to it.
Okay, wait. You've said Silence of the Lambs. You've said
There'll Be Blood.
There'll Be Blood. What was the other one? Okay.
Citizen Kane and Casablanca I haven't seen either, but you already talked about those. Yeah, there's a couple more on here. Like basically like a lot of the older shit from like before my time, I've just never got around to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't growing up watching Seven Samurai. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like all those like truly like old classic shit.
Which they're all on HBO Max now, which I really need to like dive into the TMC Classics page that they have there, because they have all
Casablanca is okay. It is not, I mean, it's okay. It's not bad. It's fine. But
yeah, like I haven't seen Gone with the Wind. You know what I mean? Like I don't have 5 hours. You know what I mean?
It's fine. It's also not bad.
It's also racist, but like
it insists upon itself and it's very racist, but you know, it's all right.
Yeah, I tweeted this earlier. The oldest movie I've like gone back to actively watch as an adult movie watching person was Singing in the Rain, which came out in 1952.
Fire.
I love that movie, bro. I've seen it twice now.
I've never seen this.
Ooh.
Bangs. I don't remember whether you're a musical guy or not, but me and Royden are, and I love that movie.
Unapologetically musical guys, and that movie, like the first time I saw that, I was like, I don't think there's a better movie. I don't think that this is.
I need to watch this movie.
This is the movie. And the funny thing about Singing in the Rain though is that it like historically wasn't a hit.
Yeah, they like didn't. Everyone was like, it's fine. Like,
and then like
decades later,
30 years later, they're like, what are we talking about? Like they put it in like the historical registry for film. They're like, what?
Decades later, like this is the greatest. Like, what are y'all on, bro? There's got to be some movies that we can do that for. That like everyone, like when it came out, everyone was like, "This is fine," and then we can just be like, "Actually, this is peak cinema." I'm gonna try to
already exists.
I'm gonna try to do it with Cloud Atlas, to be honest.
Oh God! I watched an hour of Cloud Atlas, and I don't know if you want to do. We never did this episode. Did we do this episode?
No, we never did it. Well,
let me give you a spoiler alert for our Cloud Atlas episode. That shit kind of stinks, bro. I watched like an hour. I was bored out of my fucking mind.
It's gonna be our 5-year anniversary pod. We're gonna finally do Cloud Atlas.
I was really happy when something happened and we didn't end up doing that movie. I was like, oh, I don't have to finish that shit because I watched the first hour. I was not looking forward to the second hour.
You didn't get to see the true.
Taxi Driver, never seen it.
Never seen Taxi
All right,
Driver.
now we gotta stop, guys. You gotta stop. Taxi Driver is fucking phenomenal.
I believe you.
Elite content. It is amazing.
Along those same lines, Dex, Raging Bull. Haven't seen it.
Also haven't seen it. That one,
there's a lot going on.
I'm not going to.
Not an easy watch. Okay.
Taxi Driver is one of those I would watch it if it like came up for some reason. Like, you know, if High Tops Girl wanted me to watch Taxi Driver with her, I'm doing that. Raging Bull, nah, fam. Like we not doing that.
It really hurts me that you young people have seen The Joker, which is the most off-brand version of the Taxi Driver that you've ever seen, as opposed to watching the real cinema hours of Taxi Driver. That is insulting.
Hey, man.
The Joker is basically Taxi Driver.
I'm not actively seeking out like mentally deranged, psychotic killer.
He was going through some shit. He was definitely
like the Joker made $1 billion, so I had to watch it.
No, you didn't.
For
Well, none of
me,
us actually had to watch it.
I'm one of those people, man. I like going to the movie theater. I like the event, the experience, being in
That's
the
kind of
movie
where I'm
theater.
at. That's kind of where I'm at because it now with streaming, like I sat down and Caitlin and I watched Memories of a Murder, which is incredible, by the way, from early Bong Joon-ho. It's on Hulu if you haven't watched it. Um, and we watched it in full because it was riveting, but it is one of those things where it's like if I'm at home, and it's kind of how I felt with The Godfather. Like I wish I would have been like could have seen the 50th anniversary release of this at like AMC.
Yeah,
I did.
Like
Phenomenal content.
like I am way more engaged at the movie theater, and that's why I say like, oh, we love film because like we love going to the movies.
Yeah,
and that like so like I love
watching
film.
stuff at home for the first time just doesn't hit the same as watching it for the first time in the theater. Like that's why I'm glad I got to go. Like 2019 when they put out the 20th anniversary of The Matrix, I went and watched that shit in the theater for the first time, and I was like, oh, this is fucking amazing. Like I get what everyone's been saying. Had I tried to watch that shit at home, I'd have been like, I mean, obviously it still would have been good, but it just doesn't hit the same as watching it like fucking Dolby theater for the first time, you know?
All right.
You didn't give us yours.
No, we can do this all night.
Give us yours.
Because I've seen weird movies like because I had to watch for my film theory classes. Like Double Indemnity is one that's going to come to the Criterion Collection that I think y'all should actually really watch. It's one of the like 5 best film noir films that you've ever seen. It's an incredible movie. So I've seen shit like that, but like
never even heard of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I've seen like Sunset Boulevard and just like so I've never seen like the early Brando. Like I've never seen A Streetcar Named Desire or On the Waterfront, yada yada yada.
Streetcar we watched for class in high school.
Yeah. I've never seen a lot of early Spike Lee. I've never seen Do the Right Thing.
That's racist.
Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you this. I didn't see Do the Right Thing for the first time until I was like a senior in high school. So
it's not that good.
I mean, it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's very heavy. I'm not the biggest Spike Lee fan, but except for Crooklyn. Crooklyn is an absolute banger. It's an incredible film.
Well, it's like I love like later Spike Lee. Like I love Inside Man, obviously Black Klansman.
I hate Inside Man, but I love Black Klansman.
You hate Inside Man?
What do you hate about
it? I actively hate it. Y'all know how much I love an action movie and how much I love a heist movie. I hate it every time. I've tried to like this movie. At least this is a black filmmaker that I have a lot of respect for. I tried to like this movie like 6 times. It does nothing for me. I don't know what it is. I just can't get into it. But I love Black Klansman. And Crooklyn is phenomenal. Also, the documentary he made about New Orleans was really good, like really good. But Do the Right Thing is just okay. It's something everybody should watch, but it's not like the best movie.
I feel like I like the idea of Spike Lee more than I actually like Spike Lee's movies most of the time. But
I'll tell you this, and like this may not help my allegations or whatever, but like
the allegations are they're backed up.
Any black trauma slave film, I can't.
I actively avoid those. So I feel you on that.
Like
I will go to my grave having never seen 12 Years a Slave.
I haven't seen 12 Years a Slave. I haven't
seen. Tough watch.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot.
It's really good, but it is a tough
obviously,
watch.
like y'all know, I haven't seen Moonlight. Like it just
oh come on, that's a travesty. That is a absolute travesty. That film is beautiful.
We gotta run that back though, like because I gotta revisit it and see if I might be wrong. I don't remember, to be honest.
Did you not like it?
You don't like Moonlight?
Yeah, I didn't like it. Well,
oh my God.
I thought I liked it, and then I was like, nah, I don't like it. And now I gotta watch it again because I saw it like 3 times. Like
I saw it like 3 times in the movie theaters. So good.
It came out on DVD. I was friends with like all the gay people at Baylor. Like I don't remember why. It just how it ended up happening. Like I just knew all of them essentially. And so we were just constantly like just over at someone's apartment watching Moonlight for whatever reason, like as a group.
For 5 straight years you were watching Moonlight.
But so I've seen it like 3 or 4 times. And like by the last time I watched it, I was like, It's not that good, but I'll go back now.
I saw La La
Over and
I love it.
Land, and like obvious. I don't know if Moonlight even came to Beaumont, Texas, to be completely honest with you. So I just missed it. And then going back, like it just my white guilt is too strong to be like, I need to watch 12 Years a Slave and like I can't.
You don't need to watch 12 Years a Slave, but you do need to watch Moonlight. It's beautiful.
Like I feel like I could watch Moonlight. Let me make an addendum to that. I probably could watch Moonlight. Like 12 Years a Slave or I don't know, Roots or anything like that. The Color Purple. Like I'm just like, oh, I can't.
My dad went through a phase where he like heard that me and my little brother have both never seen Roots, and he was like, I'm buying Roots on box set. We're watching like the whole thing as a family.
Oh God, no.
I think we got through like the first it's like a multi-disc. It's like a
it's like
it's
right?
a mini series, right? It's a mini series.
I think we got through like the first disc, and we just never like got back around to it, and we like all never brought it up again.
Everybody, just collectively decided like we don't have to talk about that show anymore. We
don't have to do this.
Hey, you know what? That's gonna collect dust. Like we're just gonna.
It's probably still at my parents' house. I'm gonna be over there this weekend. Shout out to Mother's Day. Shout out to all the moms. But I'll see if it's still there. If we still got the big ass Roots box set.
What's a major?
Barry Jenkins also made a 10-part mini series about slavery. It's called The Underground. It's phenomenal. But he also made Moonlight.
What's a major? Here's another one that people are gonna hate just because it's around the same time. I started Chinatown, never finished Chinatown.
Come on, man.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I know everyone knows the forget it, it's Chinatown thing, but I couldn't tell you what that movie's actually about.
I've seen all of Annie Hall, but I haven't seen Chinatown.
Okay.
Guys, Chinatown is phenomenal cinema.
Is Annie Hall a Woody Allen movie, or is it the other one? I've never seen any Woody Allen movie.
That's fine. Fuck Woody Allen.
It's a good thing. You didn't beat those allegations. Fuck Woody Allen. We don't support him.
Yeah. I've never seen any of his movies. So like people are like, you have to separate the art from the artist or whatever. And I'm like, no, I didn't experience any of the art.
Also, all of Roman Polanski. I can't believe that people in Hollywood still work with him. Although the pianist is incredible. It's an incredible movie. But like
I've never seen it. Fuck Roman Polanski.
Yeah, never seen it.
What's a major blockbuster that y'all have not seen? Because I feel I kind of I've seen most. You know what I mean?
I feel like I've seen them all.
I've seen most of the.
I never saw Skyscraper with the rock.
No, but like
building.
acclaimed blockbusters. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Morbius. Never saw Morbius.
Never saw Morbius. Let's see.
Oh, I mean, I've never seen any of the original 6 Star Wars movies. Never got around to it.
All right, man.
Oh yeah. You have that.
Let's shut this down. Let's shut this down, bro. Why have you never seen
I won.
You don't need to watch those stupid prequels, but you need to
6
watch
of them, bro. That's why I've never seen them.
Just watch the first one, which is episode 4.
Watch 1 and 2.
It will suck you in. They're so good. You'll want to keep watching them. You'll watch the first one. You will be like, oh shit, I cannot wait to watch the next one.
Talking about Francis Ford Coppola, filmmakers that made hits by mistake. George Lucas made that first one by mistake. That thing is like, he's like, oh, this isn't going to be great. And then they released it and it was like, this is the biggest thing ever. My dad has a story of when that movie came out, A New Hope, that the line was wrapped around when the Galleria was first built. The line was wrapped around the corner twice to go see that movie.
Damn.
And it was playing in theaters a year later. He saw the original Star Wars like the opening weekend, which is an incredible flex that he got to tell me. But it was like, so George Lucas basically made that film on accident. Like it just... Yeah.
The reason I haven't watched any of those original ones is because, like I said, I like going to the movie theater. Like I like the experience of doing that. I can, sitting and watching six movies in a series at home doesn't really appeal to me.
No,
but also
you have to go find a showtime of just playing episode 4 then you will be in the universe. Then
You know what the problem
figure it
is,
out.
though, too, Dex, is that George Lucas, being the weirdo that he is,
Keeps changing it.
changes it every like 10 years. He like
Yes,
re-release either like I had the original, and I wish I still had, I swear to God. I had the original VHS cut of the movie, and then like 2 years later, he put out DVDs or different VHS box sets of things where he added a bunch of CGI and stuff that just didn't
Yeah,
exist
he-
in 1979.
He treated it like a Kanye album. He went back and just added shit.
He's dropping
Put some parts
DLC.
on shit.
But my problem is that like it's 6 movies, right? And Star Wars fans really only agree on 2 of them being good. So like I don't, you know, like, I don't want to sign up for like
Let's
this
watch
whole
the 2 that are good then.
But it's like, why I could just not do that. I could just skip that part. Like and just let's go from here, you know? Like, but I'll probably get around to it eventually. I just haven't.
Oh, I haven't seen The Exorcist. That's another one.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
don't
haven't seen
care
it
about
either.
horror. I don't care about horror.
Yeah, we're not horror guys.
Yeah, not horror guys here.
Big musical guys, not horror guys
Yeah.
at all.
We love
I
dudes
love
singing
musicals
and
and-
dancing.
I like musicals and horror films.
Let's see. Top 100 films domestic gross of all time. I have seen 90. Yeah, I've seen all of these. I
Yeah,
can't
I've seen
even.
all of them that aren't Star Wars.
I don't be
I
missing no
literally cannot-
blockbusters.
I cannot get down. Okay, The Passion of the Christ. Like, what's the?
I saw that too in a movie theater.
I
The worst
saw that
experience
in a
of my
movie
life.
theater.
Wait,
I
you
was
saw
fucking
that in a movie theater?
traumatized.
I was at a church fucking thing. It was we were going to see the movie. With this
That
little
is the
church group.
weirdest thing about that movie is that evangelicals went in droves to see
It was trash. It was
a masochist Mel Gibson film where Christ gets tortured brutally. They sent children to that movie.
First of all,
Yeah.
fuck Mel Gibson. We don't support him. And second of all, they didn't have to put kids in that movie. And every adult that led me into that movie theater took a piece of my spirit away that I can never get back because it was a horrible experience. It was beating Jesus for like
literally-
45 minutes straight. There was blood splashing onto the camera. It was awful.
I literally, like, my mom and my aunt went to go see the movie because it was like the thing everyone was doing. They were going to see Passion of the Christ, and they brought me.
What the fuck is wrong with people? Why is everybody just going to see shit like this in a movie theater? That doesn't
Couldn't
make
tell
sense.
you. I remember vividly. I sat underneath my jacket, like wide awake the entire time, like not sleeping or anything like that. I was just like, I can't look at the screen. And it wasn't even like, you know, like a cell phone, like back in the day that I could like look at or something.
Yeah, you just
I was
stuck
like,
under there.
I was literally just like, I don't want to look at this. Like, I'll just be under my jacket, just vibing, like, just wide awake.
It's horrible, man. I will never watch that again ever. But I knew on that day when I walked out of the theater, I said, "Oh, I'll never watch that again, ever, 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 ever." Why? Very traumatic.
What you to see, but you let's see, are we still good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What's one film that everybody's begged you to see, but you just have refused, like me with The Godfather. Now The Godfather Part 2.
Probably Star Wars, to be honest.
Yeah. I think is going to be asking the same question. Let's go to Twitter really quick and then we'll wrap up. I asked Twitter what some of the films that everybody hasn't seen. The amount of people on my side with The Godfather, astounding.
You're all wrong.
All right. First of all, Garrett said, I asked, what's the best movie you haven't seen or refuse to see, meaning quote unquote best? And Garrett says, I don't know because I haven't seen them. Oh, brother. Come on.
Yeah, how do you know what's the best?
Shut up. Aaron says No Country for Old Men, which is objectively Aaron, you got to watch Aaron. You got to watch No Country for Old Men.
And
She
we're
also
very
hasn't seen
disappointed with
Godfather,
you.
though.
We're
Yeah.
very disappointed with you, Aaron.
Apollo Des, the Godfather himself, says he hasn't seen Baby Driver.
Yeah,
Baby
well,
Driver
kinda
is not
late for
essential
that now.
film. In fact, it's Huff, and you don't actually need to
Get
watch
the
that.
fuck
You don't-
out of my
Yeah,
face.
Baby
just-
Driver is not
can-
Huff, but
you
I
can just
can't
watch
put it.
the first scene on YouTube, which is incredible, and the rest of the movie is absolute Huff. You don't need to watch the rest of it.
Look, I can't
False.
make Baby Driver
false.
essential viewing anymore because of the allegations.
One,
But
the allegations, and two, they gave Jamie Foxx the most racist. This is a horrible portrayal of black people. That film is the absolute worst.
hey, bro, Jamie Foxx's portrayal of bats in that scene ain't got nothing to do with me and my black ass. All right, like I don't care about none of that. What you talking about? That movie's fucking incredible.
I'm not gonna
That
lie.
movie
I'll let
is-
John Hamm portray white people. That's
The allegations are in that movie. Heavily allegation vibes all over that script.
Allegation
Disgusting
vibes
film.
in every frame of that movie.
Disgusting. That man has a disgusting face.
Let's see here. Tony Adams. Tony, you've seen every movie known to man.
Yeah.
He said
Tony is also 97 years old, so he's
Oh,
had
God.
more time.
Tony has seen every single movie.
Wait.
We love you, Tony. But he said, I've only seen the first 30 minutes of Parasite. You've seen the worst 30 minutes of Parasite.
There is
It's
no
only
worse
up from
than
here.
that.
Yeah. A few people have said that they haven't seen The Matrix.
I was like
Ooh.
y'all back in 2019, but now I've seen the light.
I once was lost, but now I'm found. Apollo Collin, one of the other Godfathers, he said he hadn't seen The Godfather.
He seems like a big Godfather guy to me, having met him.
Yeah.
He seems like he would be a Godfather guy.
White,
needs to get
middle-aged
into some
dude.
real
Why hadn't he
cinema.
seen The Godfather?
He's not middle aged.
Well, anybody that's 25 plus is middle-aged. We're aging
Damn.
rapidly.
Hey, first of
Um,
all, I don't,
Teej, you're ancient.
I don't subscribe to that.
Let's see. Blur Betty on Twitter says 89% of all Oscar nominations.
Okay.
Okay, we got some catching up to do.
Because
Only a-
she says, quote, because I know the people who nominate them. Okay.
Only about 60 to 65% of them are actually good anyway. So you don't have to
that
watch
you know,
them.
that's fair. Goodfellas and The Godfather.
Come on.
Let's see. Percival Penman says, longtime listener, former guest, says, streets love to praise Hateful Eight and 12 Years a Slave, but I'm not inclined, is what he says.
Yeah, I'm never watching Hateful Eight. That's just not happening.
I
Eight
watched
is not good.
watched 5 seconds of Hateful Eight, and I said, you know what? This is 3 hours long. No, thank you.
It is the only Tarantino film that is.
I'm not gonna let
good.
Tarantino. I'm not gonna let Tarantino waste my time. No thanks.
You know how much I love Tarantino. That film is not good.
A lot of people, including Everett Manser, said never seen Schindler's List. He says he refuses to watch the Titanic, though.
I can respect that. I was
I can respect
in
that.
I was on the same wave until the podcast. What a strange time in the history of this
I went to
podcast,
go
by
see
the way.
Titanic. I went on at least 3 dates to see Titanic. That shit was in movie theaters forever. It was for.
How old were you when Titanic came out?
I was in middle school.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That seems like the ultimate date movie, but that movie's long too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
other than some titties, I was like, this is a very long movie. And, I'm not necessarily enjoying the film, but I don't necessarily hate the movie. It's okay. It's fine.
Something to do. Okay.
Yeah. Could have been at least 30 minutes shorter, but it's all right.
Anyway,
Jack Ryan, OC Dibbled, real quick, says he hasn't seen La La Land. He refuses. Schindler's List, he refuses. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he hasn't seen.
Once
A
Upon a
movie
Time
I
in
need to
Hollywood is phenomenal.
A movie I need to revisit because every time I see that movie in like memes, I forget how funny it actually was.
Phenomenal content.
yeah, the movie's dope. And yeah, like we established earlier in this podcast, John F. Kennedy hasn't seen The Godfather. So
John F. Kennedy didn't get to see Pulp Fiction. Isn't that crazy?
yep.
That's crazy as
Missed
hell.
it.
I can't believe that.
That might be the dumbest bit we've ever had in the history of this podcast. All right. That has been a One Take Podcast, episode 108. Thank you for downloading, subscribing. We really appreciate it. Please go subscribe to our YouTube, One Take Podcast on YouTube, or One Take Pod on YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can rate us on Apple Pod, or both, actually. You can rate us on Spotify, though. We need more ratings. Give us some 5-star reviews. We really appreciate it.
Help us beat the allegations.
Eventually, we're going to get past the allegations. But one of the allegations is now I have actually seen this movie, so that's incredible.
We beat that allegation. Let's go. We're real movie boys.
Real movie boys. Now I got to watch Godfather 2. Next week, huge podcast. We're doing Multiverse of Madness. It's here, baby. Let's go.
Time.
Oh, damn. I thought we were doing Southland Tales.
Oh, damn. Finally got there. We didn't, next week, the week after that, we'll do that. And then we'll do Cloud Atlas and so on.
Yeah. You season 3.
You season 3. You season 2, actually.
Oh, yeah. We got to do that one.
Yeah. We'll do those eventually. So yeah, next week, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, huge.
Let's go.
We
ready.
Huge movie coming up. Movies are back, folks. Top Gun.
What a year for film.
Apparently Top Gun's the best movie that's ever happened ever.
Yeah,
I cannot fucking wait.
Yeah. So
tickets available now. Go get those.
Yeah. Dex, what else are we doing?
We're hashtag supporting Florence Pugh. The trailer for Don't Worry, Darling dropped the other day. I'm excited. It's Florence Pugh. So, of course I'm excited. But, we'll see what the Harry Styles agenda.
She is getting down and dirty with your boy.
She said we'll see what the Harry Styles agenda.
We'll see what the Harry Styles agenda.
Boy, some of that trailer was raunchy.
The agenda has won and prevailed, and all the propaganda is unstoppable. But I feel like with this movie, I might be able to successfully mount a truther campaign and get Harry Styles out of here if he's some huff in this movie.
It's okay. It looks like Chris Pine has more of the actual role in that movie.
Yeah, they were like, you know what? We don't want to show too much Harry Styles of this. We want people to come see this movie.
Yeah.
So, anyways, hashtag support Florence Pugh, baby.
All right, and we're out.